Khamagani from my gorgeous city Jaipur. आज की स्टोरी थोड़ी डिफरेंट है बिकॉज इट इज़ अ completion of 2 years of my content creation journey. मुझे 2 साल हो गए घूमते हुए इस देश के कोने कोने में. So how it is different is that it is my story and it was shot by surprise. अभी मैं पिछले महीने गोवा में था. वहाँ पे I have a friend Gautam who suddenly came one morning into my room on the beachhead that I was living in, and he suddenly asked me to join him, and he kept asking me random questions about me, and we made a video out of it. तो ये जो आज का वीडियो है ये वही वीडियो है जो हमने उस दिन शूट किया था because I had completed 100 stories. So enjoy this video. It's a little longish, थोड़ा लंबा conversation है. Enjoy whatever you can.
Hello everyone, today is a special day, and because it's a special day, I have a special story for you. Come, follow me. Good morning.
Got me on the wrong morning.
Did you? Did I?
Yeah.
Hello. It's a special day today. Good morning, Shiva. It's a special day, and we have a special story today. That's how we started. So, I would like you to get ready to tell us your story. Are you up for it?
I'm trying to get up.
Fantastic. All right, here we go. So I was thinking, Shiva, that as we walk, we could learn a little bit more about you.
Right.
Right. Turn the camera on you, buddy.
Yeah.
आप इतने लोगों की कहानियाँ बताते हैं, इतने कल्चर से कहानियाँ बताते हैं, तो हमें लगा ये कौन है जो कैमरा पकड़ के कहानियाँ बता रहे हैं और इनकी क्या कहानी है. That was my question. I was very curious about you, and I thought that maybe your viewers would like to know as well. So if you are open to it, we can talk about you and put the camera on you. Is that okay?
Yeah, I don't know if I have anything to tell about me, but yeah, let's do it.
Well, to start off with, I thought I'd jump straight right in. Like, how is Shiva here? Like, how is he doing what he's doing? Which is a storyteller. You're a storyteller online, and I really admire your work, and I learn a lot from your work. And I've been thinking about how did Shiva come here? How did he become the storyteller? And what was he doing before that?
Okay, so how did it happen? It happened through time. I think I was, for quite some time, I was contemplating when I was doing a corporate job for more than 10 years.
Oh,
And I was working and I was thinking whether, so last couple of years I was thinking whether this is something that I really want to do for my entire life. And every morning the answer would come as no, no. So
also sounds like you're really listening to yourself.
yeah, I was trying to. And then finally, at one point of time, one day I decided that, it's high time and I should be quitting. And I quit the job without knowing exactly what I'll be doing.
Right.
I knew I'll make videos
Oh.
and those videos will have stories related to travel.
Uh-huh.
But what those stories would be, that I didn't know. But this was clear that they have to be certain things which are not explored, which usually people don't talk about. So the stories will be about that. That is something that I was quite clear about. And
Nice.
yeah, just thinking that I quit.
Wow. Wow. Just quit like that.
Yeah.
Your job that you had been working hard in for 10 years as
Yeah.
a corporate you said?
Yes,
Corporate.
I was in sales.
Sales. So from a sales to a storyteller.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Tell me about your name, Shiva. Who gave you this name?
It was my dad.
Oh.
I was told that I was named Shiv. He named me Shiv. And then there was a nurse in the hospital that we had. And she started calling me Shiva.
Oh.
And so that name stuck. And then I became Shiva from Shiv.
And do you know your reason why your dad called you Shiva? Any reason?
He believed that there is only one God, one creator, which is Shiva. He believed in the energy of and the form of Shiva. So that's why.
I see. And where were you born, Shiva?
I was born in Delhi because my mother is from Delhi.
Oh.
Yeah, so because my Nanihal was in Delhi, so my mother went there to give me birth.
I see. And your friend has followed you, buddy.
Oh, he's always there with me.
He's always
From
there.
morning till evening, he would. So when I would go for the run in the morning here,
Yes.
he would come sit here, wait for me, and then, like right now,
Yeah.
he's my beach buddy.
And I believe you've been feeding him.
Yeah, I give him breakfast and dinner.
All right. So, okay. But you grew up where? Did you grow up in Delhi as well?
I didn't grow up in Delhi. I was just like a month or two later, I moved to Jaipur once I was.
Jaipur.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been brought up in Jaipur.
I
Of
see.
course, because that's where my home has been. My dad is from.
Oh. I'm curious. Do you have, any like your earliest memories from Jaipur of yourself?
There are so many, but
I remember you telling me something about a train that you.
yeah. So that was like when I was, I think, 2 or maybe less than 3, somewhere between 2 and 3, where with my grandmother. So my home was right in front of a railway station.
I see.
We had a railway station right opposite to our house, and there would be trains passing by every day. So that day, not that day, but many days, my Amma, as I used to call her,
Oh, nice.
my grandmother,
Amma.
Dadi, yeah. So she used to take me to the station, and the Palace on Wheel used to stop in front of my house for some servicing work and some refilling of, I think, pantry and stuff like that. Because it was a secluded station then, so it was a good spot for it to do its thing. So she would take me in the kitchen
Uh-huh.
and
In the Palace of Wheels.
in the Palace of Wheel.
As a 2-year-old.
Yeah, and I remember the chef serving me omelette to eat,
Oh, how nice.
and I had an omelette in the Palace of Wheels.
Kya
So
baat hai.
I remember this quite clearly. And I
Interesting.
remember, she would eat pan. She had her silver pan ka dabba,
I see.
where she would have beetle nuts and pan ka patta.
Yes.
And she would crack one and give me one small piece of it, and I would keep craving for that
How sweet.
pan. Yeah.
What a sweet memory. And I find it interesting that at the age of 2 you were, having these experiences in the Palace of Wheels, which has got to do all about traveling. And here you are,
Yeah.
many years later, creating these traveling stories. I find that fascinating. Khushiyan Always. Tell me about that. I mean, it's so catchy and I love that. I'm so curious. How did you come up with that? What's the story behind Khushiyan Always?
Okay, so it's a stolen or a borrowed word, so to say, because it was my late father, who used to. So whenever he would have his evening drinks, he would never say cheers. Whenever he was sitting with his friends or anybody, he would say khushiyan.
Nice.
And he was like, why cheers? We should say khushiyan, right? We are in India, so which means happiness. So he would say khushiyan, and I have grown up hearing him say khushiyan. And even when I grew up a little and I went to college, he made my first drink for me when he was leaving me to study in the engineering college.
I see.
So day before.
So your dad was going to drop you to the college?
Yeah, he
How
went
nice.
to drop me to the hostel,
I see.
and one night before he made a drink for me along with his, and that was the first time I said khushiyan with him, a full peg.
How nice. How nice.
So yeah, so that khushiyan, when I lost him, of course, I also started saying khushiyan, but then when I started making my videos and writing my blogs, I thought, how do I end it, right? So what is the purpose of making these videos and telling these stories, right? So the ultimate purpose is that, so even when I'm telling a heavy or like a kind of a sad story, not sad per se, but something which is a heavy topic,
Right.
which,
Right. Emotionally.
might not necessarily be a happy story,
Right. Right.
but still it should be told in a way that the end of it, the person should have a smile on the face. That is how I want to tell the stories. So it should have khushiyan. So I added always to khushiyan, and it became khushiyan always.
Fantastic. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. I'm wondering, from a corporate job, like you said, 10 years into that corporate job, and you one day just decided, and of course you said your father moved on sometime before that, before you quit your job?
Yeah, it was many years before that, at least 5-6 years before that.
5-6 years before that. I see. And what are certain? I'm curious about what are the certain challenges you've had on this journey, because you said, you didn't know much. You just knew that you want to tell stories, you want to travel, and you don't want to tell conventional stories. But I'm wondering, like with the camera, with recording and editing and telling story to the place where you are today as a storyteller online. I'm wondering what were the initial challenges for you, and how did you deal with that?
So when I quit my job, it was in April. That was my last working day. My birthday was a day before my birthday. I got as the last working day from my company, and 17th April, my birthday, was the first day of my new free life.
I see.
And it happened that way. And so I went to Vrindavan with my mother. She was also with me. But then that was in 21, and April around this time was when COVID struck.
Right.
The day I came back, my mom got a big, she got infected with COVID, and it was quite serious for her. She became like bedridden for at least a month and a half. So that point of time, I was thinking that I need to learn, because I didn't know any editing or script writing, or in fact I'd never even faced the camera or anything
My
before.
God.
So I was thinking that I'll start watching YouTube videos and all those things, but then this COVID happened, and 1.5 months were gone like this.
With you
So-
taking care of your mother as well. right?
Yeah. So it was a stressful time, but, and luckily I probably got it asymptomatic, so things were fine. They could be managed. And yeah, so that's how. But then it was in June that I finally started getting back into. So 2 months were already gone when I thought that I would be ready with the learnings. But one good thing that happened in June was that there was this a creator called Nash Daily, if you have seen his videos. So he was launching some courses in India, and he was looking for some creators to, give them a feel of his courses. So he started a competition and chose about 25 creators from India to teach them the course free. So I just randomly, it was the last day, and I went out, made a video, and I sent it, which was part of the competition. And then there were some interviews that happened with the Singapore team, and I got that course. It was a one-month
wonderful.
course.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So that course taught, luckily, exactly what I needed.
Yes.
Like the basics of editing, the
Right.
very, very basics. Like where is the
Yes.
playhead, where is this, where is that, how do you cut footage, how do you add clips,
Right.
like these kind of basics. That course exactly taught that, and like basics of how do you go about thinking process of writing a script and all that.
Right.
So yeah, in that month I got a crash course of what I needed,
I see.
and then a month after that I set out to tell my kind of stories.
How nice. How nice. So that's good to know that. So it sounds like you knew what you were wanting to do, and you looked out for people who could help you on that, and you could get some training on that. So you got some very basic skills,
Yeah.
and you felt confident enough to now go out and do this on
because
your
I
own.
had now the sword. Now it was on me. How do I want to use it? Where do I want to use it? What do I want to cut out of it? What do I want to carve out of it?
Got it. You got the tool.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that set me. So the 2 months that I had lost, somehow that month luckily covered it for me. Otherwise, I would have spent time in watching YouTube videos and then
Right.
going through that process. But so whatever time I lost, it was made up by this.
Right.
1 month.
So that's nice to know, and I you know when I see your videos, ऐसा लगता है कि शिवा एडवेंचर कर रहा है. अगला एडवेंचर कहाँ है शिवा का, कौन सी पहाड़ी में है, कौन सी दिशा में जा रहा है. और it looks like such a, there's a kind of a romantic notion behind it, in the sense that it looks all so colorful, also like, Shiva's having a great time doing these wonderful things. And I knowing you a little bit, I learned that you have some really difficult moments on these journeys, right? When you go onto these uncharted territories, headhunters of Nagaland, I mean things like that. And you are going into unknown territories where people haven't been sometimes before, stories that haven't been told, because that's what you're interested in. And I'm wondering, what are the kind of challenges you've had sometimes, and how do you keep going on?
To be honest, wherever I have gone, to the remotest of the places, wherever I have gone, be it like you were saying, headhunters or any kind of tribe, people are the least of the issue that I have ever faced. In fact,
Oh, that's nice to know.
all the people that I have met, almost everybody, has been so welcoming. They have welcomed me. They have been so hospitable. They have.
But that's
let me
partly because
stay.
of you too, right? I'm sure.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
they have let me stay in their homes. They have welcomed me like their own. So the problem has never been from the people perspective of who I'm going to meet. But yeah, it has. The problems mostly have been about logistics of how to reach these places, and before that, how to find these places, because at times it takes days and days, or sometimes weeks, to find out what kind of story should I go after, who should I meet, even when I've reached the place, who would be the right person to tell me the real thing about this story, right? So all those things are difficult. And then the other thing which is difficult is managing riding a bike for 10-12 hours a day, and the weather is unpredictable. You never know, it could rain anytime, it could there could be a landslide anytime, which I've been stuck in and almost had a close encounter, life and death encounter.
Life and death encounter.
Yeah. So for 10 hours I was stuck in a landslide situation.
God. So see, these are behind the scenes that we don't get to see, right? I mean, we get to see the funny moments, which you so generously share.
Yeah.
But there are some really risky moments there, and very difficult ones too for you, right?
Yeah, and then there are bike breaking down. Luckily there hasn't been an accident per se with
Right.
somebody, but there have been bike when it's been skid. I have burnt my leg and my there have been times where bike has broken down in middle of the jungle. In fact, this birthday of mine, I spent 4-5 hours right in the middle of jungle where my bike broke down.
Oh God.
in Arunachal, in remote corner of Longding
On your birthday.
on my birthday. And I was like there waiting for help for 5-6 hours.
Oh my god.
And then I reached finally late in the evening when I was supposed to reach. But luckily I did. There were locals who came out to help me, and that was
Yeah.
these kind of things.
No, it makes me appreciate your work even more, to understand that what goes behind this work, the kind of commitment, the kind of perseverance, the kind of, the kind of challenges you face, and yet you keep moving on. So,
Yeah, it's that's definitely how colorful and how happy it looks. Every story takes like literally blood, sweat, and of course money.
yes, of course. Your own investment, right?
Yeah.
So what keeps you going, man? What keeps you doing this thing besides, in spite of all the challenges and all the, sounds like you've already, somebody who was, took a risk, jumped into the unknown after your secure job, you decided to create a job for yourself.
Yeah.
And as a creative person, as a storyteller, and that also in the unconventional field, not necessarily a commercial field. And so you're making all these unconventional choices, and I'm wondering how do you sustain that, or where does that come from, that kind of choice that you make, and the commitment to that, and you follow it through. What keeps you going, man?
So basically, I think there are a few things. One is the pleasure of finding these stories, and then telling these stories is a very, very big high.
Oh, you get a lot of pleasure out of it.
Yeah, I love it, because when I find some story which is not being told anywhere else, it's like finding a diamond out of nowhere. So it's kind of that kind of feeling that I get. And we're back to my hut.
Yes, back to your hut.
Because it's too hot on the beach, I think.
It's too hot. Why don't you just sit here, and we can be in this cool abode. Yes. So you were saying about your diamonds that you find in these stories, these precious
it
stories.
seems like that I have
Oh, look
sifted
who's-
through.
look who's
He's
there.
always with me, my buddy. I'll give you your breakfast. Wait.
He looks quite patient.
Yeah,
Looks like you've developed a relationship with him.
he's always there.
So sweet. And so, from the inner strength point of view, where does Shiva source his courage from, his spirit to keep going on? And I'm wondering, how did this instill in you as an individual? I learned a little bit about your relationship with your father, and how you feel. Can you speak about that a little bit? And I'm wondering if that is a source of strength for you as well.
Yeah, he was always there. Before the time he passed away, there was not a single thing that I ever worried about. Even smallest of the things, like filling up a form, or even filing a return, a tax return, or whatever. Smallest of the things.
Papa was
Even
there.
ever going to the bank, for that matter, I never did that. And so it was always him taking care of everything, and I was just enjoying my college life, and then my work life, and
Sure.
just spending off the money.
Right.
So yeah, that's the kind of life was there prior to him going. But then suddenly one day he just vanished. And
one day before his birthday.
yeah, one day before. So it was his birthday eve. So 8th May was his birthday. 7th evening he was celebrating with his friends, and he was an awesome cook. So he was, as usual,
Yeah.
cooking and having a few drinks with his friends. And then suddenly he felt pain in the chest,
Yeah.
and then in 5 minutes he was gone.
And that was on the eve of his birthday.
Yeah.
And sounds like your father was taking care of you in every which way. You felt very secure, and felt that you don't have to do much as long as he's around.
Yeah.
And then him leaving, must have been, of course, very difficult for you. But a few years later, it sounds like you changed your whole career. You went down a very different path. Would you say that post your dad's leaving, something changed for you that might have led you to where you are today? I don't know if that's.
It could have, the choices definitely. I think every small thing decides your course. Right? And it change. Even the smallest of change that you make in your life changes the course of your life in a big way. And this was like a huge change. So maybe somewhere down the line, I think it could have impacted in a lot of ways where I decided to change my course of life finally and decide to do something which I totally enjoy. Who knows, maybe I would have just, if he was there, I would have gone on just how I was, carefree and not just bothering about anything else and just chilling in my life, doing the regular how almost everyone lives, content, no worries other than day-to-day life.
Yeah. True. Who knows how that would have shaped out?
Yeah.
But you are here today.
Yeah.
And you are certainly shaping your own life. It sounds like it. You are making your choices. Where you're going to go next, who you're going to connect with. So many stories you've touched, so many people you've touched.
Yeah.
And not just online, but actually the people who you meet and the communities that you engage with. I think you're like becoming like a walking encyclopedia of rural India. In many ways, it's in your experience. It's not in a book, but it's in your experience. How you are experiencing India is so special. And we as Indians, we get to get a taste of that through your stories. And so thanks a lot for what you do, Shiva. And we really enjoy your work. And it's you're spreading a lot of awareness too. And with that, I find that you are helping us connect to each other. Us Indians connect to each other by learning each other's stories and feel connected like that. Is that a part of your?
It eventually became. It was not like that. It was not the idea that I started with that I would be doing this. The idea was just to tell untold stories. But as time progressed, I realized that these stories which I am telling are not being told, and the cultures that I am talking about are being lost. And after this generation of mine, the people who I find out these stories are like from our previous generation, like they are like my father's age and stuff like that. And the even younger generation, the ones who are in colleges right now and who are in schools and colleges right now, the kids that are growing up, they have zero idea about these stories, about their own cultures, and they are just dying. And if they are not passed on, which they are not interested in knowing, I think in next 10 to 15 years they will all be gone. So I realized that it's very important to try to tell these stories. At least some bits of it, some drops of it are left for the future generations to see.
Yes, and that's important for you. Yeah. And also we were talking about how you're from Jaipur and how you don't see yourself going back there right now because it's so different from when you were growing up, right? And you see a lot of that happening in these other states as well. So could you share a bit about that? How you see change happening because you travel so much and you're observing so much change happening.
No, so me not going to Jaipur is not because of that reason primarily. It is because as of now I don't see myself settling at any one place. In fact, that thought is unsettling for me. I have now decided to be here and this is where I'll be.
Right.
That thought is a little scary for me at the moment. I don't know how it will change. That's what it is now. But Jaipur has changed big time. Was an observation, more of an observation. Of course, I still love Jaipur. It's my home. It's where I've grown up. But then Jaipur, like I was telling, all the cultures, like the places that I go to, they are now going through the phase which Jaipur has already gone through. Now the place where I, as a kid, would could not even ride a bicycle because there was desert sand and I would have to carry my bicycle for half a kilometer to reach the school. There is a highway, there is a hospital, there is a newspaper publication, and there are factories
Oh, Bapre.
and a flyover like at the same place.
Mm-hmm.
In just like a gap of 20 years, suddenly things have mushroomed out in Jaipur and it's not recognizable anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that that feels a little sad,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that the essence of the city is gone.
And you see that happening in other places as well, where you, especially in the northeast.
It started happening.
Mhm.
It has started happening, but I think it'll take maybe some more time, because now the development is coming there, which
Right.
is also inevitable.
Right.
And those people also want development, and there is no
Right.
reason for anybody to deny it to them.
Right.
But then, yeah, it's a two-edged sword.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. It is a two-edged
What they are
sword.
asking for, that's what I keep telling them, that what you are asking for is not. is
Careful
not
what you wish for.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
realize it later
Right.
that this is not the way to go.
Yeah. And I see your stories as a way of people staying rooted, in spite of the development or the modernization.
Yeah.
Your stories become a way for us to be rooted in our history, in our identity, in where we come from, in our culture, which is what we pass on ultimately. Yes.
Yeah.
So Shiva, tell me one last thing I would ask you. I'm thinking like guys out there who are younger or who are wanting to be storytellers, and they might admire you and they might look up to like, hey, Shiva tells cool stories. Yeah, I want to do that. Do you have any sort of advice or any message for them, or any considering your journey in the last 2.5 years to where you are now?
Yeah, I think whether you want to do it full time or not, everybody should be preserving their stories and telling their stories.
Mm.
In spite of you want to make it a career out of it or not, that's secondary.
Mm.
But everybody should learn about their roots. They
Mm.
should learn about their past. They should learn about where they come from, what have their stories been, right? And what their cultures have been. And they should at least know about it and pass it on to the other generations. That is the least I think everybody should do.
Mm. Wonderful. Well, with that, we're going to sign off for today. It's like I said, it was a special day, and we had a special story with our own Shiva right here. And with that, Shiva, I'm going to take off, buddy. It was a
Alright,
pleasure.
Khushi always.
Khushia always, of course. And it's your breakfast time, so I'm going to leave you two alone.
Yep.
And right?
Come, buddy, I'll get your food.
So that was our friend Shiva, his story, well, some of it at least. And well, that's his sweet ride here in Goa. And as we go back, I'd like to just talk about something that was coming up as I was listening to him. Certain coincidences, if I may call them, quote unquote, coincidences, that he lives in a place here in Goa, in all of Goa. The place he found to stay was called Your Story. And he did not know that I will turn the camera to him. It was a surprise. He wasn't really prepared for it. And I'm glad that he was so candid, so game with telling us his story. But I wanted it to be like that. I wanted it to be as raw as it could be. And so, in all of Goa, Shiva finds this one place to come to in this very south of Goa. And the place is called Your Story. So it's a coincidence? I don't know. He travels all over and this is the place where he comes to tell his story. And it's not even his decision. And so that's the first coincidence, if one may call it that. The second one is, how he mentioned how his father moved on the eve of his birthday, his father's birthday. And I find it very interesting that Shiva made this change in his life, where he left his corporate job where he was working for 10 years, and he decided to become a storyteller, not knowing how to become one, but he just knew he would want to tell stories. And the day he left his job was also on the eve of his birthday, Shiva's birthday. So changing that changes for him something. He moved on to a very different stage of his life on the eve of his birthday. So I find that amazing also. And that brings me to the beginning. Like I said, it was a special day today for a special story, and I hope you all have enjoyed the story as much as I have enjoyed telling the story. Khushiyan always. Oh, that felt nice.
अगर आप लोग इतनी दूर तक इस वीडियो में आ गए हो तो congratulations to you and thank you for watching for so long. Anyway, so it's been 2 years, as I told you in the beginning of the video. It's just the beginning of my journey. Lot of struggles, lot of fun, lot of beautiful exploration to happen, to meet wonderful people, visit wonderful places, bring lot of beautiful cultures to you. So just a very small milestone at the beginning of the journey. Thank you for being part of it, and khushiyan always.